We have one thing in common. We all share a vision for a better future for our region. I want to thank in particular Seattle City Council member Mike O'Brien for being here. Councilmember O'Brien. And from Tacoma City Council member Ryan Mello is here. Yes, we have a better vision for this region, and our vision does not include 18 trains a day pulling 1.5 miles of coal through the heart of our community here in King County. It does not include pulling those coal cars through the heart of Washington, bringing pollution and health risks and traffic delays. You know, this is not just a local issue for Whatcom County, a local issue for King County. This is a regional issue and a global issue and a generational issue. In Washington State, we are already seeing the impact of climate change on our streams and on our storms and on our snowpack. In King County, we're showing how we can reduce climate pollution by investing in renewable energy and energy efficiency, investing in green buildings and public transit. You should be proud of your state legislature because in Washington, we have done away with coal-fired power plants. But sending coal overseas to be burned will overwhelm any gains we have made or will be able to make on greenhouse gas emissions here at home. We can do better. This is not only an environmental issue either. This is an issue of economic development. Hauling 18 trains through here every day will block the movement of goods and workers, and it will hurt our economy. Our aerospace industry relies on the rail corridor to move parts and finished products. And at key grade crossings, more than 1,000 bus trips every day could be delayed because of these trains. We can do better. No, this is not only an environmental issue or an economic issue, it's also an issue of social justice. In King County, these trains will pass through some of our most diverse and vulnerable communities where people's health is already suffering from exposure to environmental pollution. We can do better. No, my friends, this is not just about one terminal. It is about the kind of future we want to build for our communities and for those who come after us. Look at all the energy here today. Let me hear that energy. You and I, let's put that energy to work toward clean energy technology and value-added manufacturing. Let's put that energy towards sustainable funding for transit that moves workers and families. Let's put that energy toward creating a great educational system for our youth and for the science and technology and engineering jobs of tomorrow. Are you ready to power past coal? Are you ready to make your voices heard? Sincerely, we can do better. Let's join as a region and show how we can build an economy in a way that sustains our environment. Thank you very much. As I said, we have a great coalition here opposed to this project. It's now time for us to hear from Lummi Nation Council member Jay Julius.
Good afternoon. Haishka, Siam, Nistrelicha. My native name is Slailton from Cherry Point, where this very coal port is proposed. I have another Indian name. It is Watatlam, which is from the islands, San Juan Islands. My great-grandfather was born at Lummi Island. My great-grandmother was born at Orcas Island. I got a question for everybody. How many of you know by a show of hands where your great-great-great-grandparents were buried? Tribal members. And we can go on and on and on. And I thank you, tribal members, for holding your hands up, because we are documented here 3,500 years back. And we didn't live all over the place. It was right here in the San Juan Islands. And Cherry Point is flagged by Washington State as a cemetery. It's not oral story. It is a fact. And if we are one nation under God, then why is our elected government, federal government, allowing such an ungodly act to even be proposed? If this goes through, we want to see they're going to justify it by saying they're going to run things over the top of it. They won't disturb it. Let's do it at Gettysburg then. Let's do it at Arlington. I would be opposed to that because both of my grandfathers served this country. My grandfather was in the Army and my other grandfather was in the Navy. And their grandparents fought before they were even U.S. citizens for this country. And it's not okay to build at Gettysburg, Arlington. And Father Pat, can you hold up that sign? That is our Jerusalem. That is our holy ground. That is our national cemetery. It's not okay. We are no different. I know the Declaration of Independence says we're savage Indians, but that's not true today. It's not right. We're all created equal. If this does go through, you'll witness firsthand what happened in the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s to what Article 6 of the United States Constitution states: the treaties made are the supreme law of the land, and you will see rape in the first degree of our treaty should this go through. And it's not acceptable because we stand on the United States, and it's our responsibility to uphold the Constitution of the United States, right? I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out. I want to give thanks to God and safe travels to each and every one of you. Thanks for coming out. And tribes from Montana, ranchers from Montana, people traveled a long way here. And again, I just want to thank each and every one of you. And I want to encourage everybody to have generational thinking. Not just jobs for today, but what does 40 years of coal export do 7 generations down the road? And I speak on behalf of those who can't speak today, my ancestors. I am the voice for them. I am the voice for the killer whales. I was brought up different from most Americans. I respect salmon. I was taught to respect crab, killer whales. It all plays a part in what is proposed here at Cherry Point, and it's not okay. We have to speak on behalf of those that can't speak. We know it's devastating to the polar bears, to the salmon, to God's great earth itself. So again, Haishka Siam, and I want to introduce Honorable Chairman of Tulalip. Thank you.
Let's give Jay a great big hand. Thank you, Jay. Good afternoon. My name is Mel Shelton. I'm Chairman of Tulalip Tribes. We are the succession of interest of the Snohomish, Snoqualmie, and Skykomish and other tribes bands signatory to the Treaty of Point Elliott. I am here on behalf of my people to share our position on the proposed Gateway Terminal Coal Project. Before I get to the next one, I want to thank all of our elders that are here today. Thank you for being here. Can we give our elders a great big hand? The men and women who serve this great country of ours that are here today joining us on this common cause, thank you. Can we give our veterans a hand? Tulalip supports job creation. We are one of the largest employers in Snohomish County and contribute to the economic solvency of the Northwest. However, we do not support an industry as this one that we believe will damage our natural and cultural resources or diminish existing jobs in the region. Tulalip will not tolerate impacts to the health of our tribal member and to our treaty-reserved fishing, hunting, and gathering rights. Let me say that again. The assault upon our treaty-reserved fishing, hunting, and gathering rights. This project poses significant threats to our natural environment, including additional tanker traffic in the fragile waters of the Salish Sea, directly interfering with our fishing treaty rights areas, contamination in our waters, land, and traditional foods, impact to air quality that not only affect my people, but everyone, all of us in this region. Nor can we tolerate the impacts to our tribal and regional economies. 18 new trains a day, as Dow says, 18 new trains a day, up to 1.5 miles long, equates to an additional wait of 2 to 3 hours daily at each main access point between Marysville and Tulalip. Need I say more how this will affect our local regional economy? This cannot be allowed. Finally, never will Tulalip support the degradation of our ancestral burial grounds, as would result in this project. Whether they be here at Tulalip or on Lummi burial grounds at Cherry Point, we stand with our cousins in solidarity with our Coast Salish relatives in our solemn responsibility to our ancestors and to our sacred lands. Please let me remind you, as chairman of Tulalip Tribes, each federal agency is responsible for fulfilling its trust responsibility to avoid putting our treaty rights at further risk. You, the Army Corps of Engineers, our federal trustees in this process, we ask you not to permit any project that significantly impacts our way of life and further erodes the exercise of our treaty rights. And let me say that again, further erodes our treaty rights. From Whitecap to Whitecap, the peaks, the Cascade Mountains to the Salish Sea, it is our responsibility to our ancestors, to our elders, and to the future generations to protect these rights that we hold by treaty, the supreme law of the land. We are safeguarding them. In the end, we all will benefit if we do the right thing. Now I'm going to go off script. Tulalip, and I hope you join them, all of us, says no to this project. And if we can further say it, Tulalip says, hell no!
To speak next is Deborah Lakenoff from the Swinomish tribe.
Good afternoon to all of you. Greetings from the mighty Skagit River. I don't think most of you may notice the Skagit River is the only river in the lower 48 that produces all 6 species of wild salmon. The only river. It is important for all of us to protect not only the Skagit, but all river systems throughout the Salish Sea. And I commend the chairman from Tulalip in his strong words. I look to the north, to Lummi, who's protecting what's sacred and all of what they can protect. We met with the President of the United States last week at the 4th Tribal Summit. He vowed to take care of these sacred places. While we met with him, a news release came out. The President is insistent that these sacred sites be protected and preserved, treated with dignity and respect. This is also my commitment. This is also my commitment as the Secretary of USDA and Agricultural Secretary Tom Vilsack. I know my fellow secretaries share in this commitment. We understand the importance of these sites, the importance of our holy grounds, and we will do our best to make sure they are protected and respected. American Indian service members are fighting to protect America on distant battlefields, says Defense Secretary Leon Pancetta. I am pleased this new agreement will protect Indian sacred sites here at home. Our President is committed to protecting our homelands. Swinomish is located in one of the pristine areas just north of Seattle. We have lived there for 10,000 years. It is where our grandchildren's grandchildren's grandchildren will reside after this is gone. We're a place-based society. That means when the water is dead and the fish are gone, we cannot leave. This is our homelands where our babies are buried and our ancestors are buried. We cannot allow this industry to come into our lands and to destroy all that is known to us and all that is known to you. So stand by, Swinomish, Lummi, Tulalip, our friends out here, and we stand strong in listening to the chairman of Tulalip when he says, hell no to coal. Let's protect all that's important for today and tomorrow.
Our next two speakers, I'll introduce very briefly. Dr. Melissa Weekland is from the Washington Academy of Family Physicians. And he will talk to us about the health costs of coal. And then next will be Gary Shaver, who is the president of Silicon Energy, which is based up in Marysville, Washington, and is the maker of solar module manufacturer.
To be here today with such an inspiring Okay, is that better? Yeah, okay. So I'm Dr. Melissa Weekland, and I'm very happy to be here today with such an amazing group and such inspiring people. I come today wearing two hats. One as a community physician representing my own clinic, Ballard Neighborhood Doctors, and advocating for my patients who will be directly affected by the increased coal trains coming through our community. I'm also here representing the Washington Academy of Family Physicians, which has over 3,000 physician members throughout Washington State. As a group, the Washington Academy is concerned about the potential health implications of the coal export proposal. We have requested that as part of the scoping process, a comprehensive health impact assessment be done prior to the approval of this project. From the existing data, we already have strong concerns that the coal trains will negatively impact the health of our communities via increased air pollution from the diesel particulates and the coal dust. There could be delays in emergency response time because of long waits at railroad crossings and increases in noise pollution in our communities. Data has already shown that the inhalation of coal dust increases chronic bronchitis, emphysema, pulmonary fibrosis, and potentially ischemic strokes. We know that coal dust contains heavy metals such as arsenic, mercury, lead, cadmium, and uranium, which has the potential to leach into the soil and groundwater across the state. We know that the diesel engines pulling the trains will release diesel particulates into the air. These particulates have been linked to impaired pulmonary development in adolescents, increased cardiopulmonary mortality, a rise in severity and frequency of asthma attacks, and an increased risk of cancer among non-smokers. When we look at the health data, many questions specific to this proposal are left unanswered. As physicians, we are trained to assess risk versus benefit when making decisions. We've been given data as to the potential benefits of this project, but mostly in job creations, but the health risk has still not been defined. We believe it is our responsibility as physicians, as we have a mandate to not only treat disease, but support the maintenance of health and the prevention of disease, to have a full understanding of the potential health risks before informed decision-making can happen. So again, the Washington Academy of Family Physicians, representing and advocating for physicians and patients across the state, requests that a comprehensive health assessment be completed prior to the approval of this coal project. And we request adequate data on risk versus benefit in order to allow our community to make an informed decision when we are considering this project. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Gary Shaver. I'm the president of Silicon Energy. As it was introduced, I'm a solar module manufacturer located in Marysville. We create a product that is wonderful for the environment, clean electricity generated from the sun. How much better does it get than that? I'm here today, again, two hats. I'm here as a business person. Our location for our facility in Marysville is located on the other side of the railroad tracks. 18 coal trains a day will significantly impact our business. That's not what we need for economic development in Snohomish. That's not what we need as a small business, bringing a sustainable technology to the marketplace. So for us, this is not a good move just on a business side of things. My second hat is I've been doing energy policy for close to 15 years now. This is just the sustaining of backward thinking in energy policy. It is time to move forward. Silicon Energy is in full support of moving forward, not looking back. We can do better than this. So Silk Energy is not for this. We support renewable for economic reasons. Jobs locally can be done in renewable energy. Environmental protection here by doing jobs here, manufacturing locally, and making wonderful products here. That's what we're here for, and this is wonderful to see such a turnout today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Our final two speakers are Clint McCrae, who is a rancher from Montana. He's the owner of the Rocker 6 Cattle Company, and he'll be speaking to us first here. And then following Clint, will be Pete Knutson, who's a fisherman. He's the owner of Lokai Fish Company, commissioner, and also a commissioner on the Puget Sound Salmon Commission.
These are my VIPs. Don't you?
Good afternoon. I do not have any written comments today. I'm going to shoot off the hip. I've had a long day already. We left Billings, Montana about 6 o'clock this morning. I want to thank the people of Seattle for a warm welcome. I really appreciate being here. The issue that I have today, and I'm going to portray this hopefully in testimony tonight, was my family runs and operates a ranch in southeastern Montana along Rosebud Creek. That's the tributary that Custer came up and met his demise. We also have some neighbors of mine here today, and I'd like to introduce them. Mr. Brad Sauer, who's representing a ranch up the Rosebud Creek for me. We also have some neighbors of the Northern Cheyenne Nation with us. Mr. Lucas King, Otto Braided Hair, and his daughter Vanessa. We all made the trip today. We all have points that we wish to make. The issue that I have with the export of coal, even though that I live a long way from Cherry Point in the export ports, is we are facing right now a coal mine called Otter Creek. It's not yet permitted, but it was the trade for a gold mine that should never have been permitted in the first place down in Yellowstone National Park. Thank you. If that mine opens, it would be hauled on the proposed but yet to be permitted Tongue River Railroad. It's an 89-mile railroad that would tie up the coal to the Burlington Northern Line on the Yellowstone River and eventually wind up here. The reason that I am opposed to this is we have a private for-profit corporation that has the power of federal eminent domain to condemn my private land, 9 miles of my private land, so they can haul coal to China. The message that I want to give tonight is that this is a regional issue. I realize that there are a lot of issues in Washington, but these 18 coal trains or more a day come through many communities in the state of Montana, Idaho, Washington, and possibly Oregon. And we need to let these people know that it's a big issue. It is our duty. The Army Corps of Engineers needs to not act as an agent for the industry, but they need to represent the public. That is a public responsibility. Again, I appreciate the opportunity. You've been very kind, and let's go get them tonight.
Thanks to all the speakers. I'm a commercial fisherman for 40 years. I want to say to my tribal brothers and sisters that your treaty rights make us all stronger who live here and love this area. I was driving over here this morning, and for some reason I was thinking about Herman Melville and Ahab and Moby Dick. You know, and I was thinking about that line where Ahab says, if I get it right, all my means are sane, but my motive and object is mad. This is madness. This is madness. I mean, we're talking about going off the fiscal cliff. This is going off the ecological cliff. It's hard to believe that this is being proposed. So I've been a fisherman 40 years. Our boats are at Fisherman's Terminal. And those boats support processing workers, welders, technicians, shipwrights, craftspeople of all kinds. My family's fish feed the people of King County at many farmers markets. So anyone who claims that this massive coal project is about jobs had better learn how to subtract. There are 15,000 family wage incomes generated from the Seattle-based fishing industry, according to a Port of Seattle economic study. And we're just one coastal region on a Pacific Rim that runs from California to Korea. All of these marine livelihoods will be jeopardized in this century as the oceans rapidly acidify due to the burning of fossil fuels. Coal trains through downtown Seattle, rail interference with the Ballard locks, coal dust in our communities. These impacts will certainly degrade the quality of our local economy and our health. But the deadliest catch of all is ocean acidification. About 30% of the carbon dioxide generated from fossil fuel burning is absorbed by the Earth's oceans, which then become more acidic. We are already seeing impacts to shellfish in Puget Sound, oyster failures, impacts now recognized in the scientific literature and being studied by NOAA. North Pacific salmon eat huge quantities of a tiny little mollusk called a pteropod. It's known as a sea butterfly. It has a shell that's calcium carbonate, vulnerable to ocean acidification. It's a huge food source for pink salmon. If we lose that pteropod, we endanger the salmon that feeds orca, bear, cedar, human, the whole living web of the North Pacific Rim. So I say, as we plan for future generations, let's bear in mind that a job is not necessarily a livelihood. There's a qualitative difference between a job based on a one-time exploitation of fossil fuel and a livelihood based on a sustainable harvest of a renewable resource. If we look at the consequences of this coal proposal from the broadest possible perspective, the only moral option is to reject it. To push this forward would be to commit a crime against the future.
I'd like to thank all of our speakers. This brings the press conference to an end, but it's just the beginning of our day. For those of you who are planning to testify at the hearing, if you want to hang out here for a minute, we'll have Beth Doglio from the Power Pass Coal Coalition to explain what we'd like to do and how that process is going to work. For press folks, if you'd like to speak with any of our speakers, they will be over here and happy to talk with you if you head that direction. And here's Beth.